Hello everyone, it's Kathy the Backyard Stamper, and I am here for another episode of Craft Your Stash. This is episode 6, and I have a brand new card template for you too tonight. So we will be using tonight some of my favorites that are on the last chance list, which so I'm sad. It's always hard to say goodbye to our favorites, you know, and some, I'm going to be honest, are really not going to be leaving my stash, but others I will be looking for a new home, I'm sure, for them. So let's go ahead and flip the camera and I'll show you the cards we're going to make. All right, so here's my pile of last chance goodies, and we're going to be making this card here, and it's a portrait card. And then from the same set we'll be making this one, and I have a little tip for you on the designer paper. So what we're going to use tonight, well, first let me show you the dies that we're going to, the stamp set. The stamp set is called Everyday Details, and I love this stamp set, particularly for this. I just love this. And I also like the sayings, wishing you so much joy on your special day, and you make every day a little brighter. And then they have this little dotty little stamp that can help texturize. And since it's spring and the birds are looking for places to nest, we're going to be using the bird's nest and this stamp here and this thing, the sentiment. Now the stamp set is on the last chance list, and it's on sale for 40% off. So it is a whopping $14.40. That is amazing. They had matching dies, which were awesome, but sadly these are sold out. So I am going to use the circle, but I'll show you an alternative for it. I was going to also use the rectangle from the die set, but I switched it up so that I didn't realize it until after I made the card that the dies were sold out. So that's the main stamp set that we'll be using. We are also going to be using the Country Birdhouse, which I love this. As soon as I saw it in the new catalog, I just had to have it. I just love everything about it. But we're going to be using the bird, and we'll be using the coordinating dies. Oh, and we're using this Hello Friend as well. So, and this is one of my favorite things ever. It says, hoping you have the best day ever. So in my card class with my card peeps, we joke about, you know, oh, I have a stamp for that. Oh, I have a stamp for that. And so whenever somebody says something like, you know, what they did or what they've got coming up for, say it was their birthday, I always pop in and say, hoping you have the best day ever. So it's pretty fun. And then the dies are also still available, and we're going to be using the bird die from this. And this makes a beautiful birdhouse. So you can make the birdhouse without the stamp and just use the dies, or you can actually just use the house and color it in and fussy cut it out. So whatever is easiest for you. But I will tell you that the stamp set's not on sale. The dies are 10%, but the bundle option is still the best option because you get 10% off of both the stamp set and the dies. But the stamps are on low inventory, so hurry. Okay, so, and then the final thing well, not the final, but another item we're going to be using are these Countryside Corners dies. And these are fantastic dies that will stay in my collection. I love the shape of them. You can make window cards. You can make layered picture frames with them. Great for scrapbooking and cutting out your photos. These dies are 30% off, and so now they are $19.60. They had a coordinating stamp set, but this is already sold out. I think it sold out last year, but the dies they kept again for another year. And we're going to be using this Country Lace DSP, which I really like this DSP. The Country Birdhouse DSP is staying in the new catalog, but this paper here, I think it's retiring. It may go on to the online exclusives, but I somehow think this one's retiring. So we're going to be using this pattern here. And don't let me forget, I have samples to show you of other cards that I've made with these two stamps, because last time I forgot my samples to show you. So all right, let me get organized here, because we're going to be using this one first, and I've already got it mounted up. So let me move this one out of the way, bring in my supplies. Hi, Stephanie and Jamie. Yay! So glad to see you guys tonight. Thank you for popping on. And my supplies are, let's see here. Okay, so here's my little bucket. Move everything out of the way so nothing falls on the floor. All right. So we're using basic beige, and it is 11 by 4 1/4. I scored it and folded it in half at 5 1/2. And then this is the piece of countryside lace. That's this one here, and it's 4 inches by 4 inches. And I'm going to show you why I like that size. Then this is the everyday labels die, but you can also substitute the Spotlight on Nature. The circles are the same size. So this one is already sold out, but this one is still available. So we're going to be using our circle, and this one is, I think, 3 1/4 inch circle. So have to use my new ruler. 3 1/4. All right, and then I've got some birds here. I've got my faux dot. My inside piece is just 4 by 5 1/4, and that's going to go there. And then I cut, this is from a, let me see here. This is from the Everyday Dies as well, just a sentiment one. So I'll show you the cutting of my little tip on our next card, because we're going to use the same piece on the next card. All right, so the mistake I always make is I put my designer paper down before I do my faux ribbon. So I'm going to put that on first, and I'm just wrapping it to the back. This is the beige 3/8 inch bordered ribbon. This is all I have left of it. I went through 4 rolls of this year. I love this. But we come out with a new beige ribbon that's the same width. It's going to be 3/8, but it's not going to be this linen texture. It's going to be a little bit softer, so I can't wait to get that. All right, so did I put that on sort of straight? Stephanie, I hope you're feeling better. You've had quite the time of it. And Jamie, I'm so happy you're back and you made it safely. All right, so what I did was I just make sure I run some tape over my ribbon to make sure it sticks down nicely. And I'm going to put that at the top, and I've bordered the same amount, if I did not get that straight at all, but the same amount on the top and the two sides. There, I'll turn it like that. There we go. That's better. So it's hard to see in the camera. Ooh, just in time for next year's on stage, right? All right, so I'm going to set that piece aside and we'll work on our stamped image. So I'm going to use my Memento Black because I'm going to be coloring it with the blends. One of my black pads is like super over juicy and the other one seems like it's dried a little bit. Put a piece of paper under this. So I am going to, with a circle, it doesn't really matter if I have this lined up because I can just turn it to make sure it's the way I want it to be. All right, so let's go ahead and clean that off. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and stamp my greeting, hello friend. This is from the Country Birdhouse set. So I'm doing a little mishmash of some of my favorites tonight. I'm going to stamp that a little towards the right because I want to leave room for my bird. Okay, and I've already die cut the bird, so this is the die that cuts it out, and you just need a scrap. I'm going to use this one. This one's, and we'll put that right there so I don't lose it. Okay, set that aside. Let's get to coloring. Oh, so here's my stamped bird. I'll just show you real quick. That way I don't have to use the die cutting machine. And so it fits nicely. You just put it on, and I would recommend putting a little piece of post-it note tape like that to hold it in place as you run through the die machine. Cover up my black. All right, so let's do, I'm using Pool Party. Actually, I'm going to do my crumb cake first for the nest. And I'm going to use my light, and I'm just going to color in the whole nest. There's some birds trying to nest in, they like under our deck because they stay dry and everything. And there's 3 different nests going right now. So I hope that they do it. I do have birdhouses too, but I don't know, a squirrel got into one of them one time, and I think it left the scent because they sit on the perch, but they don't really like to go in. All right, so we'll switch over to the dark, and I'm going to go dark where Stampin' Up! Gave me some great cheater lines here. And you can almost feel these sticks. It's a beautiful, beautiful day today in New Hampshire. I was outside earlier when I got home from work and was putting up the fence for my garden because we have to fence off because of deer and bunnies. And so I was out working on that and watering the plants I've got started in my greenhouse already. And I was working along, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, what time is it? You know, time gets away from us. All right, so my nest is done, and now I'm just going to hit my green flowers with a little old olive. Nothing. These are fresh branches that the bird is making its nest with. But I do like that the green will help add some color. And then even on these dark ones here, I still kind of just touch my green to them. Like so. And now for the main event, which is the eggs. I just realized I did not have that cap on tight, so I am lucky that is still got some juice in it. Okay, so I'm covering the whole thing with the light, and then I'm going to go over some of my shadowy areas with the dark. And then we'll smooth those out, come back with our light. And we'll leave a little highlighted spot. Okay, my nest looks pretty good. And then we need to color our bird. And what I did with the bird was I did some lemon lolly. This is the light lemon lolly on the belly. Just because I liked that yellow. And then I'm going to come back in with my pool party. And let me use the light first. And we'll go over the whole thing with the light. Note to self, do not go over the yellow, as I did yesterday. And you know what it did. And then I'm just going to come in with the dark and hit a few of the lines here. Like so. And then I'll just blend real quick. Ooh. For some reason, these pool party markers, they are hard. The lids are tight. There. And then I'm just going to use a little crumb cake on its feet and actually on the beak too. We're keeping it kind of subtle. All right, so now we're ready to put this card together. And I'm going to be using some dimensionals. When I have dimensionals and a piece of ribbon, I want to make sure I straddle my ribbon. So I'm going to actually make a square out of the back with my dimensionals. And that way it straddles the ribbon. And then I've got my hello friend. I'm going to pop that up. I'm so tempted to buy some of my favorites and stock up, you know, on the last chance. But with the new catalog coming, and I just put in a big order because it's free shipping. Yay! Don't forget to put your orders in while you can. Save that 11%. And now everybody earns rewards on any orders over $20. So yay, small orders now are going to be rewarded. I love that. Okay, so what I did was I just kind of put that on the back of the bird, but I made sure I put it up high so that the feet are supposed to be glued down, but I was so anxious to put that down, I forgot to glue it. And let's do our inside piece. Okay, so don't need that. And I stocked up on cardstock because the price is going to be going up sadly, in our new book. Ooh, that came out really nice. Hey, Lisa, yay! Thanks for coming on. All right, and now I'm going to use my basic beige, and I'm just going to add these little doodads in the corner. All right, and that is done. We'll close this up. You just have to put this in and add some Wink of Stella, and card number 1 is done. Oh, and I want to add some gems too. So let me get out my Take Your Pick. And I did the eggs with some Wink and my bird. There. And then I found these gems when I was kind of looking through my stash. And where did I put them? I have them here. I know I do. There they are. These here were adhesive back solid gems, and these are the in colors, but it was when they first came out, I believe. Copper clay, maybe not, but they're not current. I looked them up, so they were just in my stash. So I'm just going to use a couple of the little lemon lollies and put them there, and that kind of ties that yellow in. Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot my bow. So here's a little trick for you. So I did this wrapping here, but now I'm going to come in with my faux bow, and I'm going to put it kind of on the edge, but the glue dot's going to be more on this than the ribbon, so that it will stick nice, but it will give the illusion that it is tied on a bow right next to it. See how that works? And now we are done. Let me just shape that up a little. And there. All right. So that's card number 1. Looks just like my sample. Yay. Okay, and let's do our second card is this one. So, oh, I just untied my bow. So it's the same set, Everyday Details, but we're using this fantastic, I don't know, jug of flowers. I don't know what you would call that. A big giant vase, I guess, but a pot. How about a clay pot? That looks good. That sounds like that's the right description. Okay. So we're going to use basically the same-ish pieces. So instead of basic beige, I did copper clay, 4 1/4 by 11, and scored and folded at 5 1/2. I've got my 4-inch by 5 1/4 piece for my inside. And then, because this vase is so tall, it wouldn't fit on the circle. So here's my vase, and here's my circle. So I said, well, you know what? I'm going to use my next favorite, which are these countryside inns. And that fits that flower perfectly. But then I was like, but now my designer paper doesn't work right. So let me show you what I mean. So I've got my strip, and the nice thing about cutting your designer paper, instead of cutting it at 5 1/2 or 5 1/4, if you cut it 4 by 4, okay, then you get 3 6, 9 from each sheet instead of 6. So you get 3 extra sheets. So I'm going to do my 4-inch. Whoops. And so, but see, this is what I was saying. So I have that, and I had this, and I'm like, well, it's okay. Not exactly what I wanted. And I was going to use this side. So all I did was flip that piece over. So I liked that, but I didn't like it. I liked it, but I didn't like it. So what I did was I cut this 4-inch piece into 1-inch strips. So, and you'll get 4 of those. And so you're still being economical by using your 4x4. And what we're going to do is we're going to spread them out and give the illusion that our paper is bigger than what we started with. So I am just eyeballing. What I did was I started with the top and the bottom. And so like that, and then I'm just going to kind of dry fit these in to see, and it kind of just works out the way it should, because it's going to mostly get covered up anyways, so you don't have to be perfect. I am definitely not a perfectionist when I stamp. I mean, I will fix mistakes sometimes, but I like to think of them as opportunities. All right, so now I've got my piece, but I used the same size as this piece. So I thought that was clever. And then I brought in a piece of pebbled path because I needed a frame for this piece. And honestly, let me just show you one little tip here. So I cut out a bazillion of these. And so this is my boho blue. But let me just show you, it's so much easier to cut the bigger piece, and even if you're wasting that center, than to try to get this exactly to line up, and you know, without having the gaps. So I've got lots of frames in here, and I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I'll find something though, I'm sure. All right, so let's do our stamping. Move all our pieces out of the way. I've got this beautiful vase stamp. Something on there. Okay. With the bigger stamps, I like to pick up the ink pad and stamp it rather than trying to. But look at what I just did. I got it all over my fingers. Let me grab a wipe. Okay. And that's all right, because I'm going to need this wipe for my next, for this card, to show you something else, another tip. All right, so we're just going to stamp that straight down. Oh, I love that stamp. I don't know what it is. I just love it. All right, and then let's go ahead and color. So I didn't have the copper clay. I didn't have the stamp pad or anything. And actually the paper I got from one of the variety packs. So I didn't even stock up on that paper. But I do have Cajun Craze, and for this it's going to be perfect. So we're going to go ahead and just color in the whole caboodle here with my light. Oh, I just colored outside the line. Oh well, I'm not going to stress about it. Then I'm using the dark to come into the inside of my pot and this trim along the bottom. And this little tiny line there. Okay, and then I'm going to come along the side to give it some shape as it's rounded. And then I'm going to blend. I'm going to blend it in towards the middle here. So I leave a little bit of a lighter color in the center there. And I will just try, just because I know it's going to bother me later, to see if I can lighten that a little bit. All right, so now that was fun, and so now we're going to color our flowers. I'm going to do a lemon lolly. I'm just like on this yellow kick right now. And we'll go ahead and do all of those. And essentially I'm using the same colors as my other card. So I've got my pool party. This is the dark. This is flowers, too small to worry about trying to blend. So I'm not going to. So have any of you guys stocked up on the Last Chance products? Let me know in the comments. And also let me know if you took advantage of the free shipping yet. I love it when they do free shipping. That's 11% savings, and I mean, it adds up. All right, almost done. This is, I think, one of the easiest pots of flowers to color. And again, with these ones that are black, I'm just hitting a little bit of green next to the black there. And it will give the illusion that it was all green. And then I thought the center here needed a little something, so oh, good for you, Stephanie. Yeah, and then I forgot that I needed, until I was doing this card, and I was like, oh no, I forgot my basic beige. So now I'm gonna have to put in another order to get the basic beige. I basically just kind of stocked up on all my cardstock because I use so much in my classes. Okay, and then we're going to do some little shapey things just because we can. I'll put one sort of close by that, maybe. Oh, look, it kind of looks like now my dot is part of the shape. All right, and then like that. Just a little something something. And I got to do that on the inside too. So let's do that. All right, that's done, and then I'm going to do the same inside, but I'm going to use Pebbled Path this time, just to bring in that cardstock. The Pebbled Path, ooh, yes, that was a good opportunity. The Pebbled Path cardstock looks like it's already sold out. I didn't see it when I checked before I started. I love that color. I wish they would keep that one. It's kind of like a gray, but not a gray. All right, and then for this, this is the tiniest die from the Countryside Inn. So I'm gonna stamp it on the back here because I messed this one up. But let me show you what I did. I took the Hello Friend, and I only want the hello, but I can't really put a post-it on the rest because it curves around it. So I'm just going to come into the corner here with these photopolymer. It's so easy to see where you're stamping for their sentiments. And then I'm going to just use my little wipe that I had to use for my finger. And then I want this over towards the left. That was the bad one. This is the good side. All right. But I have one that's the back of that shape because here's the front one that I stamped ahead because I was nervous. Okay. So now let's go ahead and put this together. And I want to use my linen thread. I had to open a new spool because I used up my thread, which is good for me because usually I don't. But I've been using it a lot lately. I'm just gonna put a little bit on the back here so that it will kind of stay in place while I'm wrapping it. Let's see, I think I want a little more. More is better, right? So I went around twice. And whoops. There. And now I'm going to attempt to tie. Oh, I went around twice, but now I'm around 3 times on this one. So when I do my linen thread like that, I always catch the other segments so that they hold into place while I'm tying my knot. This is the only awkward part about this card. See? That knot got away from me. There. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift my string a little bit so that it's not quite there. I didn't want it right on the edge there. And then I can spread them out, and the tape here on the back will help kind of keep them where I want them. This little linen thread is just so handy. Handy dandy. Okay, so now I'm just going to tie a bow. I like it that it's loopy, but I don't want it quite that big. So nice and loopy and curly. And then I'm going to take my hello, that's the wrong one, I'm going to take my hello and give it a little cut, just like so, because I'm going to tuck it under like that. And so I need my glue dot box again. And let's see here, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do one on the back and one on the front. And that way it will And I just rolled that front one up a little bit. So I can put it like so. There. All right. And we'll add the rest of our adhesive. I'm going to go over my string. And, oh, you know what? I needed dimensionals. That's all right. We'll do our dimensionals right over the tape. That is fine and dandy. Let's cut some of these bigger ones for that. We'll put that right over the tape there. Just like that. And we'll put another big one at the bottom here. And I am going to do one across this piece here. Overkill on the dimensionals, but that's okay. Now I feel like the top didn't get very many. All right. Peel these off. Stephanie, have you had a chance to go through your on stage stuff? Probably not, because you really haven't been home. Alright, now I can center that top to bottom and have about the same amount of DSP showing. And isn't that cute? Okay, so let me put this piece inside, and this card's done, and then I can show you some samples. Oh wow, that's good. Handy to have one of the roommates live close by, huh? All right, and then I'm just gonna color. I did my flowers here on this one. Actually, I think I hit everything with the Wink of Stella. And I'm going to do my barrel too. Okay, and then last we need a little bit of gem, and just my take your pick tool. And I love these little baby ones. That looked so good right there. Yeah, I know. We stayed up. I think we were up till 1:30 trying to pack. I think I packed and unpacked a couple of times myself, trying to get everything to fit. Next time I'm going to bring like a duffel bag to pack everything that we get inside instead of trying to cram it all in. For some reason, we end up taking home more than we left with. Okay, so here are my cards I made tonight using some of my favorites. And let me show you some samples. This card here was my inspiration for this card. And I made this card in for one of my classes. And I used the Spotlight on Nature for that one. And stamped right on the crumb cake. But see how it's the same paper even, it's just a different pattern. So it's a great layout, and this is what the card template will be. It'll be you know, the portrait style card with the 4x4 and a 3 1/4 circle, or any die cut, as you can tell, that you would like. So that's a sample there. And then I made this one, which I love this one. This is the pot here, and this is what is this? Oh gosh, Meadows, something Meadows. It's still current. I can't remember, but it's a step card. So I use that and have it like that. So that was the card with this. And then I have a birdhouse card using my little bird. And then with the countryside frames, see, this is why I had so many of those frames. I had cut, and so they had the stamp, so that went in between. So I made this card in one of our classes. This uses Sentimental Park, which is also on the last chance list. And then this was, oh yes, Winter Meadow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And this uses the same shape from this one. I think it's the bigger one, the bigger size. So they even coordinated a paper pumpkin with this countryside. Oh, and one more. Here's one that I did, and this is what I was saying. It was so much easier to mount the white on top of that instead of trying to get it to fit on the frames. This is two-tone flora, and that is, what was that one? Layering Leaves. Again, on the last chance list, which was a great set. I'm gonna keep that one. So lots and lots of samples for you tonight. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Craft Your Stash, and hope you're I hope that you have an opportunity to craft your stash too. And I do have a Facebook group. It's Backyard Stamper Craft Along. And if you craft your stash and want to post any of your pictures, feel free to do so. And if you give me about a half an hour, I will have the template up on my website. It's backyardstamper.com, and you can click to download the card template and the measurements and some in the picture of the projects we made tonight. So thank you all very much for coming, and be sure to check out that last chance list. It's some of the deals on there are crazy, crazy, crazy. And don't forget to double check the bundle price versus the individual price. So I always sort A to Z on the last chance list, and that way the dies come up with the bundle and the stamp set. So all three come up together, and that way you can tell if the dies and the stamps are both on sale, then it's almost always going to be a better deal than the bundle price. So that's a great way. Use your sort feature. It's up on the top right, and I always change the 30 to 90 because I don't want to have to flip my pages. So that's it, and I will see you next week, and maybe in between. You never know if I have opportunity to do another video. I sure have lots of stamps to make cards with. So have a great week and have a nice weekend, everybody. And thanks again for coming on.